Well, the national chair of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association of South Africa says the crash investigation report leaves more unanswered questions. Chris Martinus has added that an incident such as this involving the Civil Aviation Authority itself was only a matter of time. He joins me now to explain. Chris, can you expand on that? I mean, the Civil Aviation Authority is meant to be making sure that our aircraft are safe and that certainly our whole infrastructure for air travel is safe. You're saying that this was just an accident waiting to happen?
Yes, this is an issue that's been under a lot of discussion and pressure for a very long time. The problem is about the independence of an investigation authority here. As the Minister stated just now, the purpose of a accident investigation is to provide us with material to prevent the same thing from happening again. And as such as it has to be completely impartial. And the absurd problem that we have here is that CAA investigated an accident in which they were the owner of the aircraft, the operator of the aircraft. It was piloted by their own crew and for their own purposes. So this calls into question the impartiality of it. And if we have a look at the report itself, it's very unsatisfactory because it leaves so many questions unanswered. There was a lot of information about previous incidents on the aircraft, on there being problems with the engines, with the throttle cables, smoke filling the cockpit and so on. And we've also heard is that the crew had some reservations about the safety of the aircraft. Now, the outcome of the report is that it was what they call a classic VFR into IMC accident. That's flying under visual flight rules and flying into poor visibility conditions. Now, those happen depressingly often, but there is very little evidence that really supports that, other than that there were clouds and mountains around the area at the time. The investigation does not cover some of the, shall we call it, smoking guns of what may have occurred with the aircraft. There may have been mechanical failures. There may, the cockpit could have filled with smoke again, which could have been tragic. And the most disappointing aspect is the flight data recorder. Now, civil aviation authorities did the investigation for a full year before handing it over to the Ethiopian Aviation Authority. The flight data recorder was taken by CAA to a French company that does analysis of the data that may be in it. It had been tampered with, as the chassis was missing, and some very important data was just not there on it. That would have given us a much better idea of what may have happened.
Apparently, so Chris, it hadn't been. Sorry, apparently the black box, so to speak, the flight data recorder hadn't been used for quite a long time, and so therefore it was not in good working condition. I just wanted to ask you, why has this report taken 2 years to be released, and is there any sort of compensation in place for the family members of the crew?
Well, on accidents like this, you see lawsuits very frequently follow that. And the items on the paperwork of the aircraft are damning. The Civil Aviation Authority did not follow their own rules. And there's even the question that these Part 135 rules were not applicable on this because it was not a commercial flight. It was a corporate flight. And that falls under a completely different set of rules. But the aircraft was not maintained properly, as there was a lot of paperwork that was out of line. And that, I think it opens a very strong case of negligence against them.
All right, thank you so much.
However,
I'm sorry, Chris. The CAA has told Newslink it's not taking any interviews as it's studying the report and that a statement will be issued in the coming days.